Going to Israel. So just give you a little bit of history is that I ended up going, I think it was like 2014, 2015. And my anticipation wasn't that big. You know, it's like, yeah, I should go to Israel. You know, I love the Bible. I believe the Bible. It's good. It's rich. But, you know, what is land going to do and those kind of things? But you go to Israel because you're supposed to go to Israel. You're a pastor. You're supposed to go to Israel. So I went to Israel with not very high expectations. And then I went, and then I was blown away. I mean, it was my reaction. That's just my reaction. Some people go and they weren't blown away, but I went and I was blown away and said, oh my goodness, I'm going to do a trip every 2 years. So a couple years later, then we did another trip, and then the next trip was supposed to happen during COVID, and then it didn't happen as a result of COVID. So now we're in 2023, and now we're going again. Actually, I guess it's 2024. So what I'm going to do is I just want to first I want to sell you on the trip, and then after I try to sell you on the trip, then we'll start to talk about logistics as well. I'm not going to give you an agenda. In fact, we're not going to be here very long. I don't want to give you a whole agenda on the trip. I just want to even kind of give you a little bit my reactions in regards to the trip. And so I'm just going to show you a couple slides. And this is kind of what I received when I went. And I just kind of put them underneath one word. And one of the words I put down is it gave me perspective. This is the place, supposedly, on the Mount of Olives where Jesus cried over Jerusalem. It's a teardrop tabernacle, or whatever they call it. And then you look through the window of that, and you see the cross, and then you see a mosque. And things haven't changed in 2,000 years, just in a sense of a mosque was put on top of the temple. You know, when you go through the history of Israel and everything, it's that area is the most prime area in the world, and that's where all the spiritual battles are literally even being fought. And this mosque has been there for quite a few years. But you see the cross and you see the mosque, and it just puts things in perspective, where it puts the Bible in perspective of looking at the temple and not even seeing the God on the temple, but seeing a whole different religion even sitting on top of the temple. It puts things in perspective. The other thing Israel did for me is you got to have adventure. So the people are doing the screen. I'm just going to watch the screen, so just let you know you guys can jump forward, because then I can kind of keep up a little bit. Adventure. You always got to have adventure. This is tunnels that are going underneath the temple in the area. And I'll tell you that when you start going to tunnels and stuff like that and saying the history that has been here, the amount of people that have been here, the importance of being here, oh my goodness, it's an adventure. It's an adventure to go over as a team. It's an adventure to explore as well. The next one is suspense. What I mean by suspense is here we're in the bottom of the temple, the area, and everybody's like, the Ark of the Covenant is on the other side of this wall, somewhere inside this temple. And so they don't know that, but the suspense is just great. I mean, it just says, I wonder if the Ark of the Covenant is there. In fact, you know, the Wailing Wall, where all the Jews come, they say, that's the closest piece of the Ark of the Covenant. And so it's just an obsession that kind of goes there. Now, where is the temple at right now? The temple is there. Christ is reigning. Christ is not reigning in this temple. He's reigning in the temple of the human hearts. But I'll tell you that looking at this temple kind of gives you some suspense to go, oh my goodness, the history of what was taking place here. Ark of the Covenant, maybe it's here, maybe it's close. Just brings a lot of suspense. Wildlife, I mean, the reason why you should go is because there's wildlife. I think we're even going to do a camel ride, I think is what's going to take place. It's going to be pretty cool. Reality, I was really shocked with reality. This is the Garden of Gethsemane. These trees are thousands of years old. It kind of freaks me out a little bit. I mean, this is the Mount of Olives, the Garden of Gethsemane, and the trees are, the trees are thousands of years old, and we know what took place at the Garden of Gethsemane. So when you're looking at these trees, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is real. I mean, or at least, I mean, I'm being facetious here, but at least the Bible tracks exactly with it. We'll put it that way. The next one gives us possibilities. What do I mean by possibilities is that this is the tomb where they don't know if Jesus was at or not, But wow, it's in an interesting spot. And what I mean by an interesting spot is it's right on the main city where in the street that goes into Jerusalem. So if you're gonna hang somebody on a cross, you put them on the streets. And this tomb was dug up by Christians who actually ended up digging the tomb, and they're kind of in charge of it. I'll tell you that the peace there was just absolutely amazing. What I mean by the peace there is that a lot of people try to sell religiosity when you show up at a site. But they enter you into this room and they say, hey, this might be the tomb. It might not. But the most fascinating thing about that tomb that is out there is that it is empty. Nothing's in it. So it's a sight because it's the message, it's the story. But the possibilities of it, could it be Christ's tomb? I mean, it's exactly set up that way. I was kind of blown away with it. Mystery. What I mean by mystery, again, this is the bottom of the temple where King Herod built. And as he built this temple, those rock stones are 20 feet long. We do not have a crane on the planet that can actually lift those things, but they're there. How do they get there? I mean, there is some mystery that takes place. I mean, I was blown away by looking in. It's like, those things are absolutely extreme. Says, yeah, we don't have anything. How'd they get there? They got there. Herod had major demands. You're going to see that through the history. Major demands on people building that temple. And he did it well. And that's, how did they get there? I don't know. They're there. The guys did it and made it happen. Next one, curfew. There will be a curfew, just to let you know. And the reason why there is a curfew is it's not necessarily even the safest place to be often. But I just put it out there. You should go because there's a curfew. You get to bed early. Yeah, right. Various religions. You get an understanding of various religions that are out there. You got the Palestinians. We're not going to be going into any Palestinian land. And then you have the Jews. So Christianity is not like the dominant religion that's there. You got Palestinians, you got the Jews, and then you'll have Christians, kind of around, but more Christians even visiting than being planted there. And the Jews are still, at the Wailing Wall waiting for the Ark of the Covenant, and you'll see that take place there as well. Next one, steps Christ walked. They are. That's what's so crazy about it. Just in the sense that the temple is huge. It's massive. And Christ was on the steps of the temple. When he says that he's on the south, and this is the south end. I mean, it's like, my goodness, are you serious that it's here? And you get a walk on them? There's just something real rich about that. Next one is crazy obsessions is what you're going to get. What is this? This is the Mount of Olives is what this is. So we're standing right next to the temple, and what is this? What are all those the concrete-looking things? I mean, you see some vans, and what are all those things? You know what they are? They're tombstones. That's a cemetery, the largest cemetery in the world, pointing towards the east, because the Messiah is going to do what? He's going to come in the east. You can buy a slot for, I don't know, $80,000 if you want one. I mean, but there's this obsession. Christ is going to come. And we got to be ready for Christ to come. So we got to put our bodies in certain areas and look at it and look at the work that has gone into it. It just blowed me away. Next one, historical monuments. This is King Herod castle. He ended up at Masada. He ended up just building huge castles, just monuments of places where I'm the chief, I'm in charge, I'm glorious, and building these massive structures. So then you look down at it and say, this is where he built. This is, the history that is going here, and it's still, you can see the circle of it. Then they give you this other monument. It's like, oh yeah, this is how it kind of looked during that time. But Masada was absolutely amazing. The stories there that you're going to hear is just going to blow you away, just in regards to what was going on there. Historical structures. Again, this is at Masada. This is thousands of years old. Historical structures, the histories that are there. I won't want to tell you the story because I'll ruin it for you. But an amazing story at Masada. Historical stories. Did I say that twice? No, historical monuments. Now it's historical stories. This is a siege ramp. If you look on the right-hand side, you see a siege ramp. When the Romans came in when they wiped out the temple and they came to kill the Jews, everybody was at the top of Masada. Well, what the Romans did is they built a siege ramp so they could climb up to the top. So they put all that dirt there, and it's still there to climb up to the top. And the way that they attacked them was they took those stones, they rolled them down on top of the people. And so they grabbed these round stones and they said, oh, let's put them on top so people can see them from a monument. I mean, the historical stories are just amazing, and the stuff is still there. It's still there. Next one, cultural perspective. Just put that down. Everybody goes into the military, man or lady. You don't ask to go into the military. You're placed in the military. You graduate from college or high school. You go to the military. You serve for 4 years. Male, female, everybody. And then the military side, I mean, people are always walking around. And even the sirens go off and you hear the bombs. Yeah, sounds like we're being bombed again. Just those kind of stuff. It puts a cultural perspective in it. And also you have the Palestinian land. You have the Jewish land. Israeli land. So it's just, you get the two different cultures, and you get the kind of the mix between the cultures, and it's really interesting. Cultural perspective, claustrophobic experience. Everybody's got to have at least one claustrophobic experience in their life. This is Hezekiah's tunnel. I tell you, you got to go through Hezekiah's tunnel. It's absolutely, have you gone through there? It's absolutely amazing. And it's a long ways. And so then you start reading about the history of Hezekiah's tunnel, and it just blow you away. Chris, you went there and enjoyed that. You went through the tunnel too, didn't you, Chris? Yeah, it's a little tight, but it's good. And you're walking in water that's flowing, but it's good. Good experience. Got to do that. A perspective of time. The Holy Sepulchre, this is what this is. And then when I put a perspective of time, do you see that ladder that is on the Holy Sepulchre? That ladder has been there longer than America has existed. I mean, that just blows me away. But nobody's supposed to touch the ladder because nobody's supposed to, you can't remove that monument. It was getting help, and all of a sudden it's there, and everybody has a picture of it being there. So by golly, don't go up there and take it away. And so it's just a whole buildings are 10 times as old as America. I mean, houses, structures are just, it just blew me away just in a sense of time. And then it's just like buildings on top of buildings. It's just like cities on top of cities is what Israel is. The next one is markings of spiritual warfare. I love this piece right here. This is the mosque on top of the temple. And if you look, I don't have my pointer. I was going to get my pointer. But if you look at what happens with stone is that marble is it bleeds. It just automatically bleeds. It's just what it does. So you make a marble mosque, it's going to bleed. It's interesting what this marble bled into. Look at that. Doesn't that look like a little bit like Satan? It looks like it. Where is it located? See that right there on that right-hand corner as I'm looking up your right-hand corner? It's right there. And then the other one is right there, and there's a whole other one that looks exactly like something that looks absolutely ugly. Now, you are not supposed to walk up to it and take a picture because the Muslims do not like it because they do not like that mark on their mosque. They don't like it, but it's sitting on the temple of God. And what are you getting? You're getting just marble that bleeds, but check it out. Looks kind of interesting. Go ahead. The tip of the sword. The most thing that shocked me the most about Israel is that it's small. And what I mean by small is we're sitting on the Mount of Olives, those are all the tombstones. Right below us is the Kidron Valley, and then the temple is there, and you just see it in one shot. And the whole world has been centered around that for, all the way since Abraham climbed to Mount Moriah. That's the spot. That is the spot, and it is a spot where the New Jerusalem is going to come down. And that was just shocking to me that sitting here looking at the tip of the sword. Bible perspective, upon this rock I will build my church. This is where Jesus told Peter that. Next one, biblical artifacts. They dug up a boat on the Sea of Galilee. So that's a boat to look at. Whose boat is it? Is it Peter's boat? Who knows whose boat it is? But it's ancient. And, they're saying, it could easily be a couple thousand years old. And there's some artifacts that are there. Next one, you get an emotional experience. I get emotional at hiking and looking at beautiful sceneries. This is the Sea of Galilee, and God gives me a sunset. It's like, oh my goodness, at the Sea of Galilee? Come on, God. This is like totally amazing. So it was an emotional experience for me. And the next one, Nice accommodations. We're going to have great accommodations while we're there. It'll be a nice, pleasant trip. There will be some walking and some standing and those things, but the accommodations will be nice. Food will be absolutely amazing as well. Next one, get a boat ride. Everybody's got to have a boat ride. So we go on the Sea of Galilee. That's what's going to take. That's what's going to take place there as well. So it's hard to justify or explain, in pictures, and everybody is going to react different when they go to Israel. But I would encourage everybody to at least go once, just to check it out. It's also going to be fun to go with people in the church. Last time we went, we had 33. So that means we had one bus to ourselves. We owned the whole bus, and it was all Jefferson Baptist. We all knew each other, and it was just an amazing experience, an amazing trip. And so when you come back, it's like, wow, that was really, really good. So if you look at your papers, we'll kind of go through some logistics of what's happening. We'll start with this one, the best of Israel. This is all the information you practically need to know on this brochure. It is our itinerary, so you can look at it, and it's all the entire itinerary of what we're going through. Each stop, in fact, they just give you the whole story about everything that we are going to do. I do have to say is that I think we have the best guide that you could possibly ever have. There's very few people that only have a sole Israeli passport. And so he's from Israel. I mean, that's where he's from. And him and I, we connected really well on our last trip, so much that when I came back to the United States, he came back home with me and went hiking, and I put him on the Pacific Crest Trail, and he got eaten alive by mosquitoes. Says, I want nothing to do with this again. So, so we've been connected through the years, and I asked for him, said, just give me him. And the date we originally picked, he couldn't do it, so I said, change the date, because we want to get him. So Ishkar is his name. He's going to be our guide. He's going to do a phenomenal job walking us through all of this. Again, all the information you need is here, and this is what the trip looks for. We live in the world of the internet. You can Google these places. You can Google these sites. Pictures at Masada, history at Masada. Just those kind of things. All the way through the Dead Sea Scrolls and Abraham's tent, all those pieces of it, you can kind of Google those things of what we're going through. You'll also see, which is a big question, what is the price? I got it as cheap as I possibly can get it. What I mean by that is that we're not going into any Palestinian land. If you go into Palestinian land like Hebron or Shiloh, I wanted to go into Shiloh, but you have to move from a regular tour bus to an armored tour bus, which has, plates underneath it that can have a bomb blow up underneath, and we can all still survive. It costs money to do that kind of stuff. So I said, okay, we'll cut all the Palestinian lands out, and we'll go just for, just stay in Israeli land. And so that brought the price down a little bit. And when it comes to accommodations, the first year I went, I think I paid like $5,500. It was just really, really expensive. But we were eating veal, and we were eating lobster, and I'm like, I don't want this. Our accommodations were ridiculous. I wasn't the one in charge of it. Somebody else, another pastor that I was going with, was the one that put those accommodations. So I say, come on, give us less accommodations. So they bring us down a little bit more accommodations, and I still can't even tell a difference. The accommodations are beautiful. I mean, they're absolutely amazing. But you could go and you could, have veal too, but we're not. Just to let you know, we're trying to get the price down for more people to go. So we got it under $4,000 by $11 is what we did, which is actually cheaper, I think, than when we went, Chris. That's cheaper than when we went in 2019, I think, or 2017, something like that. So we got it as low as we possibly can get it. Then you'll see the single supplement there. That means you just get a motel by yourself. You'll see reservations, you'll see final payment, you'll see things included. What we're doing with the final payment is this right here is just an informational meeting to say, we're going to Israel. Take a brochure, sign up if you want. If you're ready to sign up, great, sign up. You'll see there's another sheet in there. This is the way you sign up. You can put $500 down right now and you can go. But this is like a wave of advertisement. We want you to know that it's going, but we're going to really push it hard in the fall. I think the last date to sign up is like December and those things. So we have plenty of time, We just want to give you a taste of it right now. Come the fall, we're going to push it again in the fall, saying, hey, we're going to have Israel meetings, and we'll ask questions, and we'll push it and say, sign up. Now's the time to sign up and those things. So you'll see a different wave coming. But if you are wanting to go, feel free to sign up now if you'd like. I think they require $500 down. You can see the cancellation fees in regards to the days prior to deposits to receive our deposits back and those kind of things. But the full price is done, I think, in December or January, one of those. It does count for everything. That's your plane ticket, that's your food, that's your lodging. The only thing it doesn't account for is if you're going to eat in an airport. Bring your own money for that. It also doesn't account for if you're going to buy anything in Israel and those kind of things. But other than that, it does not account for lunch either. But I'll tell you, the morning breakfast that they serve and the evening dinners, oh my goodness. I mean, you don't have to be a camel to skip lunch. It just carries all the way through. But you can bring snacks in your backpack as well, and you can snack on things and those kind of things. But that's kind of the culture of where we're at and what they provide. There is a couple days, I believe, that we do have lunch, but you'll see that again in your itinerary and those things. So we're going with pilgrim tours. If people ask, well, how come we don't go on a mission trip? I want to go on a mission trip to Israel. It's actually hard to go on a mission trip to Israel. Everybody wants to go to Israel. They want to do something to Israel. And Israel's like, get in, get out. I mean, just in a sense that they're rich, they're self-sufficient, it's a strong country. I mean, the things that Israel has invented, the GPS in all of our cars, where does that come from? It comes from Israel. A lot of our major medical stuff, where does these inventions come from? It comes from Israel. I mean, Israel's producing world things. I mean, it carries a world power. So we come in as America, hey, we want to serve you. They're like, we're all right. I mean, I'm not saying it that way, but kind of, yeah, we're all right. And then you go to Palestinian land, hey, we want to give you Jesus, and then they just shoot you. It's like, didn't mean to just say that, but I mean that's Israel. So if you're going to go to Israel, you're going to go on a tour group. That's just what we're going to do. And then the other thing is that we go and we serve. In all of our mission trips, it's all tax deductible if we go and we serve. But if we're going on a tour group, then it's not tax deductible, just to let you know. So this trip would not be tax deductible, and we had to put it in that category. If you have a guide, then it's not tax deductible. But if you don't have a guide, like when we go to Africa and all those things, then those mission trips are actually tax deductible. But this one is not. So right here is the sign up. All you have to do is fill that out, hand it in. I think there's a computer sign up as well. I'll get more information on that. Pilgrim tour, travel protection, just gives you some insurance as well if you wanted to look through that and kind of been through that. So I'll open up for any questions that anybody has or can ask. Yeah, Barbara, microphone's coming so everybody can hear you. I know you don't like talking in a microphone.
I think you mentioned 500 deposit. On the paper, it says 300 per person.
So
on the sign-up sheet, the form you fill out.
Deposit says $300 per person. If it says it, and then this thing says $500, I'll ask that question to see exactly what they want. Because I don't know that answer. Let's see what they want. If it says $300 and you fill out this application, you could do $300. I think that they're just looking for money down to say how many people are serious and how many people are not. And that's just kind of a statement of how serious you are and those kind of things. Does that say 300 also? Okay, excellent. My glasses say 300. My out glasses says 500. Is that right? At the top. Oh, it says 300 right at the top. Reservation of $300. Yeah. So, 500, 300. Yeah, that's right. you can see. I'm just guessing. I'm guessing without them. Yeah. So it is $300. Thank you for answering that question.
If you want to fly there ahead of time and leave after the tour group, can the price be adjusted?
Say that one more time if you want
Okay,
to leave.
if we wanted to fly there ahead of time.
Yes.
And then leave after the tour group, stay afterwards for another few days or whatever, can the price of the flying be deducted from the price of the tour?
Yeah, so they work with us quite a bit, because we did have people that would stay for Petra. They wanted to go see Petra, and they said, okay, we're going to stay and do that. They have budgeted $1,600 for flights, and so that's where they're guessing it's going to be. So if we start talking about different, like from the church and those kind of things, yes, that can be adjusted. They work with us. They work with us on it. So they say, hey, we're going, give us accommodations, but don't give us a flight. And then whatever everybody else is paying, they'll probably just deduct that off and those things. But I know that they worked with us, put flights together.
Okay. And I wanted to make a comment. Israel is 1/9 the size of Oregon.
Yes, 1/9. I knew it was small. And I asked Ishkar, I said, do you ever go on vacation? He said, where? Syria? No. We live in a block, I'll go to the United States, but that's kind of where you go. And it's a small area. And actually Ishkar is a hiker, and he wants me to hike the distance of it. And he says, I'll take care of you, I'll set you up. And I'm like, walk across the desert for how long? I don't want to walk across the desert. So, but he lives in the desert, so it's really, really hot there. But yeah, it's pretty small. Yes, Rich?
Comment, if you don't have a passport already, you need to probably get that now, because it can take anywhere from a month to 3 or 4 months to get your passport if you don't have one.
Yeah, passport would be a good idea to go after and get a hold of. Yes, Carol? I was pointing for Rich, just to let you know.
Is it okay to bring a friend that doesn't go to JBC?
Oh, always, just to let you know. So, yeah, always. We're not, somebody asked me that at the father-daughter. Was it all right that we brought somebody? It's like, we're the kingdom of God. It's like, yeah, let's do this. And so, yeah, if you have somebody that wants to go, the only thing we're asking is don't go to another church and say, hey, they're doing an Israel trip. You should bring 5 people or 10 people, because that would fill it up pretty fast. But we'll see how it looks at getting filled up. There is a chance that the next time we go, I might take the itinerary and really adjust it, which will make the price higher, and go into Shiloh, go into Hebron, go into Jericho, go into the Palestinian lands and see some sites. And that would attract, I know Chris was asking, are you guys going to different sites? It's like, if we're going to go every 2 years or every 3 years, we should have a different sites that we're going to. I've also looked at, the journeys of Paul and looked at the different journeys there, that if people really jump into this travel, I'm really excited about this travel, and we do more of it. Yeah, Barbara?
Will vaccinations be required?
I doubt it. No COVID. No. You just asked. That's good. No COVID. So, yeah, that's good. That was no vaccinations. I think that no, I don't think much is even required.
What sort of gear should you take, like luggage, or what's the weather like? What kind of clothing should you plan for?
Good question. Going in April, I'd say that it's not as hot as right now, but usually pretty nice. So you will take some rain gear just in case of rain, but you're going to get the temperatures, very comfortable temperatures, 60, 70 degrees during this time of year. And then you just take one suitcase, I believe it is, per person, one check-on and one at the top. So the luggage kind of will be, limited. Or you can buy another one for like $200 if you want to. But that's kind of what we're looking at. It's not as strict as our Africa trips. Our Africa trips is you get a carry-on and you fit it all. And all your check-ons is all going to get left in Africa. So we check all the books and stuff onto Africa. This is a lot more casual trip.
What would you recommend for shoes?
Walking shoes. I mean, and we're going to go through these. You're going to stand and you're going to walk. And then the other pieces about it is that if you have problems standing, you have problems walking, it's okay to think of different things, you know, in regards to bringing somebody's talked about a cane with a seat. You know, that's a great idea. Or even a little walker. I mean, I want one. It's really nice. I did take some things out of the schedule. Last time, we just kept on going. And it's like, you know what? It's time to go back to the motel. So the ones I got bored of, you know, I chucked. I said, yeah, we don't want that. We don't want that. I don't want that. Send us back to our motel. And just to try to keep, you know, off of our feet a little bit more. Some people did stay, say, hey, I'm just going to take the day off. And they just stayed, you know, in the motel. So that's all options. Wheelchair accessible, everything. I don't know if everything's wheelchair accessible. I should probably get information on that. Yeah.
Okay, I was going to make a couple comments. In Israel, in April, it gets in the 80s, and Masada is hot.
Oh, Masada's
So
always hot. Yeah, that's right.
You want to make sure you have a hat and then shoes so you don't stumble and hurt your feet. Now, like open-toed sandals would not be the thing to wear or to
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, it's hot. And who's going to climb up it? Oh, I'm going to climb up it. I climbed up it last year. I'm getting all excited. Oh, Masada. Oh, Masada. You gotta. So yeah, it is hotter than I did forget. We did go into the desert, and yeah, you better carry some shorts or something for the heat.
On this one paperwork, it talks about mobility, and it says you have to be able to walk 1 to 2 miles. But you're saying it is okay for people who are limited in their mobility to go and skip out on
It says that you should be able to walk 2 miles a day.
2 miles at a time at a moderate pace.
2 miles at a time. So what the 2 miles at a time is, I don't remember ever going a solid 2 miles, but I think that they are pushing people to be able to stand and people to walk. I just know that both times that I went, there was, first time I went, there was a person who could barely walk, and he stayed on the bus a lot. You know, you had your microphone in your ear, and everybody walked, and that, you know, the tour guide was still in the ear, and those kind of things. So it does tell you how much you're walking. So walking 2 miles.
Persons who cannot do this, who cannot do that, instead require special assistance, should not be on this trip. Moderate pace, sometimes navigate uneven. We cannot accept persons who cannot do that
Okay.
under tour membership and mobility requirements.
So my personality whenever I go rafting is like, it's a piece of cake. It's easy. And my wife always says, don't talk to Mike, talk to me. I'll tell you the truth. This is the way it is. So this is probably the truth. I'm saying it's easy. It's a piece of cake. It doesn't matter if you can't walk. I mean, just go. You know, this might say something different. Maybe go for this as truth, but I always say it's a piece of cake. And so that is true. I would say that maybe that's I say maybe that is true. No, it is true. That's what this says. You know, I say, you can make it, but stick to that. So I do know that it is a lot of standing, a lot of walking in those things. So, but I still want you to go. Any other questions? Yeah. Oh. Yeah. So Nelson said, when do we need the payment in full?
Yes.
It's either December or January.
Got it.
So it's a ways away.
Final payment due by February 9th.
So I'm not a detailed person. It's February, Nelson. February. That's payments due in February. So the reason why it's December is because I changed the dates. And it was always December, you know, so I'm tracking with them. Oh, we're going to do this date, we're going to do this date. And I've called Ishkar. I'm justifying my single track mining. I call Ishkar and I say, we're going on this date. He says, no, I can't go on this date. So then we pushed it clear into April. So that's where it pushed out a couple more months. So, but all the details, Yeah, you'll grab the details. Don't listen to what I say, just listen to what this thing says. You know, it's kind of like, you know, I'm an interpreter. Now you guys are going to think, this guy preaches the word? You got the truth, and all of a sudden he's, you know, yeah. This is the truth right here. That's what, listen to that. Don't listen to me. I was also thinking, depending on how many people are signing up for this and how many people are pushing for this, I was going to do a discipleship class, probably in the Discipleship Center, starting in January. And what we would do is we would give you the history of Israel, and we would talk about Israel. And then when you walk into Israel, you're like, oh yeah, I know all this stuff. And so we can actually, you know, milk this whole trip and really study hard before we ever even show up. And then you guys could be all disappointed and want your money back because you didn't learn anything because you learned it all before you went. Just kidding. I don't know if people would like that or not. I would, you know, I wouldn't mind, you know, the prophecies and understand the history of Israel would be a great idea. All right. Nancy says this is a great idea. I might do that. Ishkar's kind of bad at asking questions too. And I think last time he's like, I mean, just since he'd ask all these questions and everybody's supposed to know these answers, you know, as he's talking. And sometimes it'd be awesome if we show up and, yeah, we know, Ishkar. Yeah, we know. Yeah, we know. We know. You can sit down. You don't have to talk. We can talk to you. We'll tell you the whole story. We know. That'd be really cool. So, but yeah, we most likely will end up doing that. To get the momentum going this direction, that'd be a lot of fun. And that's not only for people who want to go to or going to Israel. It's for people that be interested in Israel and who want to know the history of it. So, and then again, you know, we're doing it now, and then, you know, I'm committing that, yeah, in 2 more years or 3 more years, we're going to be doing it again and those things. So we will be, we'll be consistently doing it. So it's like, well, it's not really work now. Well, hopefully we could do it. You know, who knows what the world's going to look like? Because whenever the world gets shaken up, Israel's always in the center of it. So we'll see. People say, it's being bombed. Are we still going? Yeah, we still go, you know. They're like, yeah, this is just normal. You know, this is kind of what takes place. They really want to take care of their tourists because tourism is a huge industry in Israel. So they really try to take care of us. Okay. Any other questions? Cool. If you're thinking about going, you got to do it. It's going to be a fun trip, and I know that to go with the church, what an opportunity that is, just to be able to be with people. In fact, I had one person that was going to Israel signed up with a different church. I don't know if she's here or not. I'm trying to look and see if I can see her. And she goes, I heard Jefferson Baptist is going to Israel. And I said, yes. So, well, if that's the case, I'm going to cancel with this one as long as you make sure that you go. So she's not here. I don't see her. All right. But I think she's going to go. So, and I'll keep you guys posted. I should get all you guys' names, or you guys just consistently ask to keep you guys posted on the numbers of people and see where the waves are at in regards. If a lot of people all of a sudden sign up and I leave this meeting and 30 people are signed up, I'm going to let you church know, say, we only have 10 spots left, you know, and those kind of things. And do think about that as well as when we're thinking about other people. It's great that one person comes, maybe 2, but think about, you know, we'll see what our body does first and then see how it works off of that. Okay? So, all right. Feel free to ask any questions whenever you want. These are going to be out there a lot. We're going to be putting them on the table. It's going to be out there, but you guys now know the first piece of this information. So, okay? All right. Hope everybody can go. Absolutely. It's going to be good.